Hey, folks, and welcome to Hey Adora, your Queer She-Ra podcast. I'm Force Captain Meph, they, them.
And I'm Princess Jenny, she, her.
And I am so excited to do this episode. Yes!
This is a long time coming. We're so happy.
We're so happy. Today's episode is Princess Scorpia. Yes.
We made it to Scorpia's room.
We made it to Scorpia's room. Princess Scorpia is season 4, episode 6. It is written by Laura Shriebney. Storyboards by Diane Ha, Angela Kim, Sharon Sun, and Sam Szymanski. And directed by Kiki Manrique.
Nice.
Thank you. Yay! Scorpia!
Scorpia.
Out on her own. Getting her thing done, breaking
brave,
away.
loyal, and great hugs.
We love you, Scorpia.
Oh, yes,
your
we
thing.
do.
I am so excited about this episode because who doesn't love Scorpia?
How could
and
you
I
not
love
be?
her. And Scorpia, gets her groove back.
Yeah. I mean,
she owns.
Is it fair to say she gets her groove back? I think she gets her groove in a way that she's never had it before.
Yeah, she gets her groove. She stands up for her
really
Scorp.
finds her footing.
She finds her footing. She finds her sting.
Yes.
She clamps her clamps.
Yes, she clamps her clamps. She finds her scorpion footprints.
We love her.
Yes, she claims her badassery in a truly deep way. She knows who she is, and she steps into her true path.
And oh my gosh.
Her true path on her way to her awesome true love that is waiting for her on the other side of the fight. We'll get there.
Aww, we'll get there.
I found out some awesome trivia facts about Scorpia that will relate to some future episodes.
I'm very excited.
Yes.
I have some wonderful facts not about Scorpia that I'm very excited to share.
All right.
So
should we
let's
dive
get
right
on with it. Let's dive right in. We wake up in Scorpia's room.
Yeah, we do.
And we have an establishing shot on Scorpia's little dresser altar with a picture of baby Scorpia with her 2 moms.
Yes, tall and small.
Tall mom and small mom. We love it.
Love to see it.
Love to see it. I am the small one in the queer couple that I am in. Love me a tall girl.
There's not that big of a difference between you two. I wouldn't call you a tall and small couple.
It's like 4 inches.
Really? It's not that noticeable.
I have a large presence.
You do. You do have a large presence.
I have a large presence. Yes.
Anyway.
So we have picture baby Scorpia with her 2 moms, her Force Captain badge, her crystal. She's got her crystals out on her altar,
and they're all red. And that makes me wonder if they're possibly Scorpion family heirloom crystals because they match her color scheme.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, or that's their whole thing, black garnety, red crystally things. Yes. And she's got this little this eggy geode thing that also could be part of the family heirloom scorpion thingy.
There's one thing that I suspect is not a family heirloom, and that's her little scorpion stuffy.
I know, I love
so much. I want one.
I also want one. If you make them, let us know.
Yes, we will put in an order for 2 of those immediately. One more thing that is visible on the altar or the bureau or whatever it is, it's her crimson waist buddy vest that Catra gave her.
It is the last thing on the desk. We have the dress-up necklace and the vest. So it's all of the things that kind of make Scorpia Scorpia.
Yes,
so we have this establishing shot of
personal possessions in her wicked Spartan horde existence.
Yep, and she has them as her own personal altar to herself. So we open up the episode. Yeah, we kind of open up the episode seeing the objects of Scorpia.
That's right.
Just Scorpia. So, and I love it.
I love it too.
And
I have a question for you, Meph.
Yeah.
Where do you think Scorpia's moms are?
I don't know. I have a couple of theories that we get to a tiny bit of exposition about how Scorpia became part of the horde without the rest of the family a little bit later in the episode.
Yeah, so do you want to put a pin in that for now and we'll talk about it later? When we get to Horror Hall, we can talk about that?
Yeah, when we get to Horror Hall, we'll talk about that. Because what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, let's definitely put a pin in that because I have some thoughts.
Okay.
Maybe feelings, but definitely thoughts.
Okay.
I think I have feelings. I always have some feelings.
We definitely have plenty of squishy feelings.
We definitely have feelings.
So we go past the establishing shot of Scorpia's altar of her little Scorpia things, and we go to Scorpia asleep in her bed beneath a few adorable pictures that are taped to the headboard that we're assuming that she drew. There's one of her, one of Katra, and one that's a little too abstract to tell. And then we have this fun little loopy zoom loop in on Scorpia's sleeping drooly face.
It's so cute.
I feel like anytime someone is shown asleep and drooling, that typically denotes innocence. Like her sleep is untroubled.
Yes, yes. It's deep and untroubled.
Yes.
Yes.
And then, boop, good morning, world. Force Captain Scorpia reporting for duty.
And she just shoots right out of bed.
Yep, she literally throws off the covers and salutes the empty room. She's up.
I love that she's like a bound out of bed person. That checks out with everything we've pretty much figured out and learned about Scorpia.
We could have guessed that she is a morning person.
Yeah.
And I noticed something really small that totally doesn't matter, but it's an animation inconsistency. So she jumps out of bed wearing her full uniform with her Force Captain badge. But we just saw her Force Captain badge sitting on the shelf.
You're right. And you're right.
Maybe that was her backup badge.
I was thinking backup badge.
Loses her first one.
I was thinking backup badge, but we also never have any proof that they have backup badges.
I mean, it's not important.
But I mean, yeah, but I yes. Good call. Good shot.
I just noticed it for the first time on this watch because I was looking so closely, scrutinizing every detail.
As you do. Mm-hmm. As you do. Jenny, excellent catch.
Thank you.
Are you a bound out of bed person?
Oh, fuck no. Dear God, I am the literal opposite.
I know this.
Yeah, I am at my best if I am allowed to wake up slowly without anyone trying to talk to me.
Yes, I am actually pretty decent in the morning. I don't know how that happened, but I can get out of bed and have a decent amount of energy in the morning.
Yeah, I chalk it all up to natural biorhythms.
Sure.
You know, because my dad is the same as I am. Like my natural biorhythm, if I am left alone and I don't have to adhere to any outside cycle, my natural biorhythm is to like stay up pretty wicked late and then sleep, you know, through the mid-morning. And then I'll wake up naturally like mid-morning if no one bothers me.
Yeah.
Like that's just what my body naturally wants to do. And so if I'm forced to wake up earlier, I can make it happen. Like, I had a job for 8 years where I had to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and I was able to do that. And I was able to do it without a lot of drama because everybody else was asleep, so I did not have to talk to anybody for the first, hour and a half that I was awake.
Right.
So it didn't bother me. I didn't have to try to, interface.
Interface with people,
with the world in any way. Yeah. So that was a big help. So I think Scorpia is just blessed to be a natural morning person.
She is.
She's
She's
cannot
so
wait
bubbly.
to dive into her morning routine. Do you want to tell the people about Scorpia's morning routine?
Well, I love Scorpia's morning routine. First, she good mornings to the world.
Yes, as we cue the swell of upbeat music. Can't forget that.
Yep. And so we have this wonderful upbeat music, montagey music, and she checks off everything as she does it.
Out loud.
So out loud, by the way. She says the word check.
Yes.
Even better. So she goes to the mirror, she picks at her teeth, she does a fabulous check, right? Mm-hmm. She's like looking sharp, check. She does her own daily affirmations. Mm-hmm. She breathes in breathing in the new day. Mm-hmm. Check.
Savoring the very air. As if this stale poured air is fresh as the seaside.
Yep. It powers her every day. Then she makes her bed and then check. And then she feeds Emily, which I love this part because it is the most little kid logic ever. When I was a kid, I totally thought that robots ate nuts and bolts and drank oil.
Of course. That's perfect kid logic. And she's not
totally
even sure that Emily eats, but she's going to feed her anyway just in case.
But she's gonna feed her anyway. And, she does, some stuff happens, but we're gonna roll back to that. But just for more of her daily stuff, she does her daily affirmation in the mirror. That's her day. But she is a little bit interrupted in her day because, well, Emily knocks something off her dresser and kind of her mind kind of throws off her little morning routine a little bit. Injects a little bit of melancholy into it, so to speak.
And this also introduces us to the fact that Scorpia converses regularly with Emily. Emily is basically her best friend now.
Yeah, like best friend pet. Like I talk to my pets like
best friend
this.
Pet, but also like at a certain point we do get some pretty substantial proof that she actually does understand Emily.
Yes.
So like
Emily
is both
understands
her
her
pet and her best friend at this point.
Yeah.
Like this is, her main confidant, like the only person that she can like relax and be herself with. So it's a little bit melancholy, but it's also like a little bit of Scorpia just sort of being herself. Like she picks up the vest that Emily knocks over and she starts telling her about it. And she's like, oh yeah, pretty cool, huh? Catcher gave it to me. It's kind of our thing.
Yep. And Emily beep boops some hard truths at her.
Yep.
And
Scorpia's like, I know. She said we're not friends anymore, but she didn't mean it. And maybe I misheard her. There was a lot going on. There was a canon.
It's true. And I mean, who knows? There was a canon.
So we see very clearly the headspace that she's in at the beginning of the episode. Right. She's still fully 100% supporting Catra. Catra can do no wrong. Catra can say no wrong. Scorpia is going to be on Catra's side.
Right. And Scorpia is phenomenal at rationalizing things.
Yes.
Like, we've seen this throughout the entire series, that she's, especially the abuse that's just continuously tossed at her.
Yeah, I mean, that's her survival mechanism.
And her
last affirmation before she leaves her room is push down doubts and insecurities.
Yep.
Check. And, it's painful.
It is.
But, it is preferable to not surviving.
Yep. But she does have a good positive affirmation when she walks out, which is...
She sure does.
I am brave, strong, loyal, and I give great hugs.
That's right, Scorpia. You fucking do.
And those are great because those are great positive affirmations because they're actual positive affirmations and they're like actual, like tangible things. They're not like toxic positivity stuff.
That's right.
It's not rationalization. It's not like denial of anything. They are actual things that she does that are positive qualities. And, she does have some self-awareness of who she is.
That's right.
And pride in that.
That's the core of who she is.
Yep. And she's going to be the best friend that she can be.
That's right.
And that is her drive through the whole episode, is how can Scorpia be the best friend that she can be?
That's her drive through the whole episode and more broadly, like through the whole series and through her whole life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scorpia just wants to be good friends with people.
As she finishes giving herself these final affirmations, door opens.
Fucking chaos.
Total fucking chaos.
Chaos! Ah!
It seems like all the Horde soldiers have completely lost their shit.
Oh, just all
looting?
Over the place.
Are they just running around in terror because they're afraid if they don't follow Catra's instructions fast enough, she's going to murder them?
I just think it's a general shit show there, honestly.
It's a general shit show. That is correct.
And apparently one of the things that is being said is Daryl, seriously. So not only does Kyle suck, but Daryl also sucks.
I did not pick up on that.
And this is actually going to lead to my Professor Smartbrain moment about something I know about this time.
Oh, great. Let's hear it.
So...
Actually, before you do the Professor Smartbrain moment, sorry, let's back that up a tiny bit, because there's only one line left in this scene. The last line, Scorpia takes in all this chaos.
Oh, okay.
And she just says, "Yep, today will be a great day."
Aw, good job, Scorpia.
She is not deterred by any of this. She's maintaining her positive attitude.
She's maintaining her positive attitude, but...
So that's the whole scene, and then we go to the credits.
That's the whole scene, and then we go to the credits.
I would love to know what in all of this is worthy of a Professor Smartbrain moment.
Cool. So we're going to back up about 2 seconds before when Scorpia opens the door and witnesses utter and complete chaos everywhere. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she hears this scream. Ah! That's my impression of the scream. Jenny, do you know what the name of that scream is?
I do, but I have no idea what it means. It's called a Wilhelm scream.
It is called the Wilhelm scream.
So tell me what it means, please.
My Professor Smart Brain moment is about the Wilhelm scream. I'm stoked on this. So, this is the Wilhelm scream, and this is what it sounds like. So, the Wilhelm scream is used literally everywhere, and I'm going to get into the whys and the hows and stuff in a moment. But let's first chat about the origins. So the scream itself was first recorded in 1951 for the Warner Brothers American Florida Western, okay, whatever, Distant Drums, which is a deeply historically inaccurate and racist Take Back the Fort, which in this case is from the Seminoles, story during the Second Seminole War of the 1840s. It's essentially just an excuse to be racist.
Yeah, it sounds wicked racist.
Western. Yeah, it's wicked racist. I mean, I don't know why you would film a movie about Florida and call it a Western, but whatever. So it was widely believed to be recorded by... Okay, this is nuts. So it was widely believed to be recorded by actor, comedian, writer, director, and singer-songwriter. His name is Sheb Wooley. The dude's name is Sheb Wooley.
That's very 1950s Hollywood name.
Okay, so this dude's career is nuts. He had a crazy long, successful career as like a literal all-around entertainer. He recorded 18 albums. He had multiple number one hits, including one you may have heard called Purple People Eater.
Sheb Wooley wrote Purple People Eater?
He wrote Purple People Eater.
A one-eyed, one-horn, flying purple people eater sure looks strange to me.
I know that one.
Yeah. He was in, has at least 63 film and TV acting credits under his belt. And I haven't even dug into the rest of this dude's career, but he was incredibly prolific. But anyway, I digress. The original name of this recording was Man Getting Bit by an Alligator and He Screams. Which is not very
good
catchy.
Reason to scream.
Sure. I mean, it's a pretty apt name. So it was recorded for a scene where a soldier fleeing a Seminole warrior was running through a swamp, and the soldier was bitten and dragged underwater by an alligator. This is the sound I would probably make.
I'm sure.
So in this film, Woolley did play this character, but this character's name was not Wilhelm.
So how did it get dubbed the Wilhelm scream?
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
So why is it the Wilhelm scream? Well, Warner Brothers reused a bunch of their old sound effects because it was really expensive to record sound effects back in the day. So the name of the sound effect is actually taken from a character from another film that this actor played. So he was in a character, this same actor played a character named Private Wilhelm in another movie in
Saving
1953.
Private Wilhelm?
Saving Private Wilhelm, no. Named, the other movie was called The Charge at Feather River. But the name still didn't have the name of the Wilhelm scream. It was just probably just that dude screaming again.
Okay.
So, but it was, this scream sound effect just kept getting used over and over again by Warner Brothers for other films it was in.
Sure, it makes sense.
Sure, it was used in the 1954 Judy Garland movie A Star is Born. It was used in Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch.
I don't know that one.
It is a notoriously bloody 1969 like anti-Western Western. But it really kind of came into like its iconic pop culture status because of one man whose name is Ben Burtt. So who is Ben Burtt?
Who is Ben Burtt?
Ben Burtt is the original sound designer for Star Wars.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
any Star Wars sound that you've ever heard was designed by Ben Burtt. So,
indeed,
lasers and lightsabers
pew, pew, pew.
And all of the things, breathings and all of the things. That's all Ben Burtt. So he was digging through the archives and was looking for something to put in Star Wars.
Full-throated scream.
A good full-throated screen. So the scene in Star Wars where it is first, the original Star Wars, A New Hope, or just plain old Star Wars for us old guys, is where Luke Skywalker and Leia are on a ledge, and Luke shoots a stormtrooper on an opposite ledge from the ledge. There's a lot of shooting and falling.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of ledges and falling and stuff. And that is the first use of the Wilhelm scream in Star Wars. And he is actually the person that named it the Wilhelm scream.
Aha.
And so he not only kind of brought it into modern, kind of a more contemporary, popular
Made
cultural.
It relevant to us today.
Yeah, he also named it that. And he put it's his signature, and he put it in a bunch of his movies.
Well, damn.
I mean, he put it in Indiana Jones, he put it in Willow, he put it all, because he worked with George Lucas. So he put it in all of those. But other sound designers kept picking it up because it's so distinct and it's kind of goofy. So other sound designers kept picking it up and putting it in as kind of Easter eggs to communicate with each other.
Right.
And so here's another fun fact. It's been in every single Star Wars movie up to Force Awakens.
Interesting.
I think it's fun.
I bet it was. This is probably very telling about my pop culture grounding, but I think I know it. But I think I know it from Spaceballs.
Oh yeah, it was definitely used in Spaceballs.
I'm sure it was used in Spaceballs as a reference back to Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that sound designers and film nerds use now as kind of a wink nudge to people in the know.
Of course.
Or as a stylistic thing, Ben Burt would put it in and it would be his signature. He's like, okay, it was in Raiders. Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones throws a Nazi off a truck and you hear it. It's often used when somebody is falling off a cliff or being thrown off of something, or there's an explosion and you see a body going through the air. That's often when it's used.
And even for people who don't recognize it, it still works. It's just a good scream.
Yeah, it's a good scream, and it's kind of goofy, and it's really recognizable.
Right.
So, and it is so ubiquitous. I tried to find a comprehensive list of where it's used.
There is no such list?
It's impossible. Numbers I have seen are up to 520 uses of it. But that's barely scratching the surface.
Yeah.
So
that's wild.
If you've watched anything ever, including this show, which I'm assuming that you have heard the Wilhelm scream. Is not my Professor Smart Ray moment yet.
It's not?
It's not. Hold on. I'm going to put a link in the episode notes to the Wikipedia article, which is really cool because it has the original recording of the actual the recording session for this.
From our buddy Sheb?
From our buddy Sheb, the man getting bit by an alligator and he screams. So it has the original, it's the fifth take. So it has all of the takes of the other screams. And it's literally how when we joke on this show, where it's can you make your oomph a little more oomph?
Yes.
It's literally somebody doing, directing an actor being I don't think that scream is really, there's not enough.
We don't need urgency
ooh in it. Yeah, exactly.
I don't believe you're being bitten by an alligator.
Exactly. So you can actually hear that, and it's on the Wikipedia page, but I'll put in a link to it anyway.
That's absolutely wild.
It's so fun. So that is my Professor Smartbrain moment on the Wilhelm scream. Oh! And that is my impression of the Wilhelm scream.
Thank you, Professor Smartbrain.
Thank you. Jenny, what's your impression?
I have to do one too?
Well, what the hell? Why not?
Ah!
Yeah.
This is the perfect example of the type of information nugget that will live in my brain forever, even though it is totally useless information and serves no purpose. I will never forget this.
I will never forget Sheb.
Yeah.
Sheb Woolley.
Yeah.
Who wrote One-Eyed, One-Horned, Flying People, Purple People Eater.
Sure looks strange to me.
And then did,
Yeah. Those two things definitely go well together.
They really do.
I was a Flying Purple People Eater one year for Purim.
Oh, that's really
cute.
It
was really easy. I just got a purple tutu, and then I got a little alien bobblehead headband.
Headband, yeah.
And then I just did purple paper mache over it, and it had a little eyeball on the top.
That's adorable.
It was fun. Low maintenance. I'm a fan of low maintenance costumes.
I love low maintenance costumes.
Yes.
All right, so all of that before the credits.
Yes, that was a really fun opening scene.
That was.
Like, I don't think you could be any more excited for an episode based on an opening scene.
It was a really good opening scene. It was really well paced. It's really funny. We have the Wilhelm scream, everything you needed.
Yes, and just as after the Wilhelm scream, just as Scorpia squares up, hands on hips, and says, "Yep, today will be a great day." And then there's a giant explosion and the screen fills with smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Right before we go to credits.
Yep. And then so we have credits.
So
credits,
it's like shenanigans are going to ensue.
Shenanigans. Then we go to credits. And I love when shenanigans go to credits. Yep. And then we have more credits and yet more credits. And then the question still remains of whether or not we will win in the end. And I'm going to continue to pose this to Jenny.
If Scorpia has anything to do with it, we are damn well going to win in the end.
You know, I feel like if anyone can help make that happen, it's Scorpia.
That's right.
Yeah.
If Scorpia is on my side, being my brave, loyal friend and giving me great hugs, I don't see how we could lose.
I don't either. She's great.
She's the best.
She's the best. She really is the best. Aw, I love my lesbian gym teacher, Scorpia.
Me too. She gives the best affirmations.
She really does. Oh, but right now and you know what? I think maybe our best friend squad might need some affirmations from our favorite lesbian gym teacher.
Let's check in on our buddies. They are not okay.
They are going through it. I mean, they're having a good time fighting.
So we're at a Horde outpost on a cliffside with the best friend squad.
Yep.
Starts by, I know this is not the Wilhelm scream, but it could be. We've got a Horde soldier flying over the cliff face, screaming their damn face off, which is reasonable under the circumstances. Yep. And then Glimmer poofs in and saves them and brings them back, saying to Shira, "You dropped one." And Shira's like, "My bad."
Yeah, we got some really good action movie banter here going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they're just doing their thing. They're out in the field doing their action hero stuff.
Yeah, feeling themselves. It's great.
Yes, but Glimmer is a little bit annoyed that she is, picking up the trash, basically. Shira is just, knocking Horde soldiers into the sky, and Glimmer's just, poofing out to grab them so they don't die.
Yeah, she's not getting as much ass kicking in as she needs.
Yes, Glimmer's face is very dull. She's annoyed.
She's annoyed and I want to beat some people up. Why are you not letting me beat up people like you used to?
Exactly. And then just as she seems to be getting a chance to get one for herself, Bo steps in and nabs them with his net arrows, which is another very handy humanitarian intervention.
Great.
Just a reminder, our buds do not shoot to kill.
No, they
Basically,
don't.
their phasers are always set to stun.
They really are.
Even the sword is set to stun.
The sword is set to stun, yeah. Yeah, or blunt force.
Yeah. It just sends them flying, knowing that Glimmer will catch them before they, hit the ground.
Right.
They just do catch and release, basically. No blood and guts. And Bo tells Glimmer to hang back.
Yep.
At this rate, we'll have the supply line open in no time. Thank you for that exposition on what we're doing here.
Right.
And then we see Flutterina is also here, which doesn't necessarily seem like the most strategic choice.
Not really. I don't know why they brought her along, but sure.
It must have been a low-stakes operation, I guess.
I don't...
But Glimmer finally grabs a Horde soldier for herself, declaring, "This one's mine," and poofs him down to the cliffside to be alone with him where there's no escape. She's super excited to try out some moves.
Yeah, and this is dark.
A little dark.
It's a little dark. She could just, punch him, right?
Yeah,
but instead
she's just doing a truth spell. It's not super dark.
Sure, but she, she separates him away from the rest of them, and she's like, "I've really wanted to try this out. I don't know how this works." Oops, right?
Yeah, she's just trying to intimidate him.
Sure. But it's not like super crazy dark, but it does like
I mean, yeah, I feel like she's trying to spread her wings and make her own moves, without being under the wing of her buddies who are being overprotective.
Right. Yeah, no, I get this, but let's keep going through this because let's just keep going.
Yes. I mean, I can't say that you're completely wrong. It doesn't come off as super dark to me, but yes, she is definitely trying to give those vibes to the Horde soldier.
Right.
I'm a wild card. You don't know what I might do. Things could go crazy.
Right. With this one, yes. You can tell that she's very much like, you don't know what I'm capable of.
Right.
Like there is still this kind of like, it still feels a little more innocent.
Yes, but her spell doesn't even work. Nothing happens.
Sure.
And then before she has a chance to regroup or try anything else, She-Ra shows up to intervene, and Glimmer is very annoyed.
Right. And, She-Ra does make a good point where it's like, hey, you're the queen.
Yes.
So, I can't let anything happen to you.
And the beat Adora keeps coming back to throughout this episode isn't just, you're the queen. She says, you're the queen, I can't let anything happen to you. So it's very clear, at least to me, that Adora is really stuck on, I let the last queen die. I can't let that happen again.
Right.
If you die, it'll be because I failed to protect you.
Right.
But she's still feeling really guilty about Angela's death.
Right.
And she's not able to articulate that well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And, and also what she says is she does not trust whatever Shadow Weaver is teaching her.
Right. That is also at play.
That is also at play,
her fear that, Shadow Weaver is teaching Glimmer bad stuff. But I feel like, even if Shadow Weaver were out of the equation, that Adora would still be very fearful for Glimmer's life, and wanting to protect her would be a top priority.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. And I wish that Glimmer would just remind her friends that if she's in danger, she can just poof away. She never reminds them about that.
Sure. Also, Adora does have an actual rational, within the world, non-guilt driven point, which is, I am a soldier that works for the Queen of Bright Moon. It actually is my literal written duty to protect the queen. That also does make sense.
That's true, but it's also reasonable for Glimmer as the queen to feel like she should be able to call her own shots.
Absolutely.
Angela certainly called her own shots.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
It's they're figuring out, in the same way that we were talking last week about the dynamics of Catra and the Pow Paw. It's like your friend gets promoted.
Right. Yes.
But your friend should still treat you like a friend. They should not suddenly treat you like shit and like you have no pre-existing relationship. This is not the same as that. But,
no, but it is a parallel,
promoted. Your friend is now the queen. Obviously, that's going to change the dynamics of your friendship.
Right.
And they have not worked this out.
They're still working that out.
And had healthy group therapy communication.
Right. Or any sort of not even group therapy communication, but just expectation of role. And
they haven't talked it through. And so, Glimmer's annoyed. Adora says, you're the queen, I can't let anything happen to you. And then the Horde soldier starts to get away, and then Bo shows up and intervenes again, getting in front of Glimmer with more net arrows. Mm-hmm. So whichever way Glimmer turns, she feels like she has no autonomy. She can't make any moves. Her friends are treating her with kid gloves.
Right, exactly.
Basically. And then we have my first gayest moment, which is probably yours also. We have pouty lesbian Adora. Besides, whatever dark magic Shadow Weaver taught you, obviously it doesn't seem to be doing the job.
I don't have it. In fact, I actually sucked at finding gayest moments in this episode. Yeah, I did.
They're mostly pouty ones.
Yeah.
And then there's some cheesy group therapy stuff later. But that one for me, Adora being pouty, sullen lesbian, very much in that moment.
It's very rare we see Adora being the sullen lesbian. That's usually for Catra.
Yeah. But right now, with the stuff that's going on between her and Glimmer, it's really bringing out the pouty, sullen side of Adora.
Yeah. Which is, important. I mean, everybody needs some layers, and
yeah, of course.
Pouty, sullen lesbian is a really important part of being a sword lesbian.
It's there. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
And so Glimmer is annoyed and says that it's not dark magic, and it would have been really cool if it had worked.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't explicitly dark.
No, I mean, listen, the magic on its own is not dark or light, and it just depends on how it is used.
It just is.
It just is.
It just is. Yeah.
How do you use it? Do you use it in good faith? Do you use it to corrupt? Do you use it to gain power for yourself? So this question of, is the magic that Glimmer is doing inherently dark something that is going to persist throughout the rest of the season?
Right.
So they're bickering now, and before it can go any further, Bo jumps in again. Bo is our, man in the middle, wraps his arms around both of them, trying to refocus them on how great it is to just be back out in the field together. Best friend squad, back together again.
Yeah, which, isn't really... I see what Bo's trying to do, but that's also kind of like...
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid.
It's
solution.
a Band-Aid. It's a push it under the rug type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
they don't...
That's not great.
They still don't have time to react because Flutterina jumps in to add her enthusiasm for the mission.
Yep.
Very third
why
wheel.
Is she there?
Yeah. Thanks them for letting her come. And I really think that season 1 or 2 Glimmer would have been very annoyed by Flutterina.
Oh, absolutely.
But now that she's more grown, and, more empowered, she's happy to be able to, help the younger generation come up and find their footing.
Yeah.
So this mollifies her. She smiles at Flutterina.
Yeah, she does.
So that does mollify her for the moment.
Yeah, and Glimmer is a little skeptical about the battle. I mean, she's like, okay.
Yeah, Glimmer's the only one who thinks it's sus that this outpost is so poorly guarded.
Yeah, it is sus.
It is. And Flutterina says they probably ran away scared.
Right. And we're like, nah.
And that answer satisfies Bo and Adora, which is a little surprising.
Yeah, maybe they're burnt. They could just be burnt out.
That's probably true.
Because I'm getting the impression that they're doing that what Catra is doing is having them do all these little skirmishes everywhere. So they're running from place to place, doing these little little easy to win skirmishes to kind of burn them
Keep
out
them
and
busy.
to keep them busy. So it's draining their energy, and it's distracting them from the big thing that's going to be happening
true.
very soon.
And they have to do this because they have to reopen the supply line to the Kingdom of Snows.
Right.
And, it's too easy. That's our biggest problem. Let's just finish this, and then we'll figure out what else we need to worry about.
Right, exactly. So it's okay, who cares?
Yeah,
we still have a thing to do.
Adora is usually much more strategic than this.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
there's too many things coming at them at once.
Yeah, you're probably right about the burnout factor. Mm-hmm. Flutterina, of course, knows exactly how to stoke the flames of discord.
Yep.
And she tells Glimmer how lucky she is that Adora saved her.
Uh-huh.
And again, I have a bullet here. Does no one remember that Glimmer can teleport away from danger?
I know.
If a horde soldier grabs her, she can just poof away.
Sure. I mean, it does take some presence of mind, but also Glimmer has that presence of mind.
Yeah, Glimmer is fine.
Glimmer's fine. She thinks quick. She knows how to think quick. That's kind of what being somebody that can teleport can do.
Yes. Yes. Of course, Flutterina has this perfect exchange with Glimmer to piss her off in a innocent way that doesn't seem like it's coming from Flutterina. She says, anyway, your real strength is in teamwork. The way you let Adora give you orders, even though you're the queen. So, of course, that's exactly what to say. Glimmer says, she wasn't giving me orders. We're a team.
Mm-hmm. The greatest team.
Yeah. That's why she can talk to you like that.
Uh-huh.
Damn. What a bond.
playing y'all like a fiddle on some sort of fiddling holiday in the middle of Fiddle Day on a fiddle time and Fiddleopolis.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Lambs to the slaughter, as Flutterina says, after they stop crankily away.
That's double trouble. No way.
Who could have guessed it?
No way. I thought that was an actual girl named Flutterina.
A little pink poof ball of precious pink princessness.
Not double trouble.
Not a devious drama queen.
Nope. This show just keeps surprising me.
Let's leave them there, stewing in their discontent.
Let's go to more discontent stewing.
And we'll hop on over to another stew of discontent.
Oh, it's the inner sanctum. Oh boy, my favorite place.
It's our favorite incel cave in the fright zone.
Grumpy Hordak.
Grumpy Hordak.
Growling.
Super pissed.
Ugh, when did he doesn't look pissed? Whatever.
Well, I mean, there are moments.
Okay, fine. When he's moping.
And there are also moments when he looks sort of like genuinely surprised and taken aback and doesn't know how to react to things.
Okay, that's fair.
But this is not one of those.
This is not one of those. This is one of his trademark, like, let's yell at Catra and tell her she's wrong moments.
Yes, he demands to know why Catra is letting all their outposts get creamed.
And she's like, because I'm letting them?
Yeah, and Catra is, fully letting Hordak see that she thinks he's an idiot. Because, do you not even understand what strategy is? Like, have you never played a strategy game?
Right? Like Catra's like, did I play all those games of Risk with you for nothing?
Yes. She's like, duh. I called back the main defenses. And Hordak's like, well, why did you do that? Huff, huff, huff. And Catra just laughs at him. She's like, okay. The princesses have no idea what's coming. Let them waste their time on some useless outposts. We're saving our resources for the big mission. The final part of our plan, remember? It's almost time.
And, of course, Hordak does not believe it is almost time, for he believes that the weapon needs to be completed.
Yes, my next bullet, surmising his position on this, is that his big dick weapon isn't ready and he needs more time.
Yeah, and is it really about the weapon?
Or is he just need more time to be mopey about Entrapta?
Right. I mean, I think we're both on the same page here.
And so basically Hordak says that if he can't have more time, then he needs Entrapta's notes. And Catra, of course, is always triggered anytime someone says Entrapta. And she
I wonder why.
Yeah, she says the only thing she knows how to say, which is Entrapta is a traitor.
Uh-huh.
And Hordak is possibly the only person who is more triggered by anyone saying Entrapta. And he freaks out and he screams, "You think I don't know that?"
Brah, brah, brah.
And he has a little speech, a little quiet, intense, angry man speech. This is what she left behind. And this is what I will use to defeat every last princess on Etheria. Horde Prime will be here soon, and when he arrives, he will see what I am capable of. I will return to his side, victorious, worthy. But first, I need those recordings.
It's like, all right. Okay, so then we have the whole, all right, Hordak, we get it. Hurt people, hurt people, hurt people.
Yes.
Type of thing going on. We see, and we see this again in this episode, that Hordak and Catra have very similar drives to get the Horde to be like the ultimate, war machine.
Yes, okay. And her final speech at the end of the episode is basically, she's talking to him, but it's like she's talking to herself.
Right, exactly. And it's like, you and I, we are not so dissimilar. It's very much that villain speech of like, you and I, we're not so dissimilar.
Yes, we don't need anyone.
Right, exactly.
So basically, Catra's finally hit a wall. This is the one person that she can't make it go away by just saying Entrapta was a traitor.
Right.
So she's got to think of something else. He's like, no, bitch, I need those recordings and you will get them for me.
Right. And so he still has power over her, so she has to do this.
Yes, she has to do his bidding and she is not happy about it.
No, she's pissed.
So I wonder who's going to suffer the consequences of that.
Well, I think we cut to exactly who's going to suffer the consequences of that.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this. I do understand narrative after watching the show for a while.
I've heard you're wicked smart.
I'm pretty smart. Yes, I am wicked smart. So we cut to Scorpia walking along with like this really cute little like metal teacup.
Yeah.
And it's like really cute.
She's like holding it very carefully between her pincers.
I know.
As Emily scurries adorably behind her, and they're playing the little game of like, if I move to this side, you can't see me. Or I'll move to that side when you look to this side.
It's so cute. Emily's
adorable, and Scorpia loves her so much.
I know.
You know, they're having so much fun together. But, you know, Scorpia is also trying to protect Emily.
Right.
And so she's like, oh no, you have to stay in my room. Remember, it's for your own good. You know, Catra can't see you.
Right, or she's gonna melt you down to scrap metal.
Right. Because, you know, like, Scorpia's busy right now. She's bringing Catra a cup of soothing herbal tea because, of course, that will fully halt a nervous breakdown.
You know, actually, this might be my gayest moment.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know, I didn't actually, like, pick a gayest moment before this, but in thinking about it, making your family recipe herbal remedy to give to the girl that you have a crush on
mean girl who you have a crush on, and you're just trying to make her happy, and you think that if you can make her smile, that she will suddenly stop being mean and like you back.
Yeah, that's the gay.
Really gay.
Yeah, that's my gayest moment.
Yeah, I didn't have that one, but I agree with you.
Yeah, that's my gayest moment. I'm glad that I was able to process and get there naturally.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I'm
gayest
with you.
moment right there. Yeah,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Cool.
So,
I'm glad I got there.
Let's exactly that.
Great.
So Emily slowly, you know, scurries away, so sad and forlorn, like a little puppy. Scorpia can't resist, and she's like, okay, you can come. And then Emily rushes back again, like an eager puppy. So cute. But then she jolts like a live wire hit her, and she just books it out of there.
Well,
she saw something scared her.
I mean, she's terrified of Catra, and guess who we run into?
Yeah, that is a good survival instinct.
Yeah.
Scorpia does not take the hint. She's like, hey, where are you going? Said you could come.
What's going on, guys?
So she gets her own jump scare by Catra appearing behind her. So the tea flies straight up out of the cup and goes straight back down. That's how.
Which is great.
It's a great little jump scare. And Scorpia makes one of her usual cute little jokes about how good Catra is at sneaking up on her.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, she's a cat.
She is cat-like.
It's kind of what cats do.
And then she notices quite astutely that Catra is not looking her best. As we see that Catra, you know, her eyes are like bloodshot and twitchy. She looks like she is really about to completely lose it.
Oh, she looks like total shit.
Yeah.
Total absolute
and all
shit.
Scorpia wants to do is take care of her.
And give her a little bit of tea.
Give her some tea. And I, in a lot of ways, can really identify with this. I spent the greater portion of my teens and 20s trying to save people who were not there to save themselves. And that was a pattern that I repeated a lot before I found my way out of it.
I'm glad that you did. Yeah, that's really important.
Me too. It's hard to work your way out of that pattern.
It is.
But, you know,
I'm proud of you.
You know, when your heart is oriented in that pattern, you just feel like the only way that you can feel okay is if you can help someone else feel okay.
Yep.
So that's where Scorpia is.
Yeah. Oh.
But she's happy that Catra has a job for her because now she has something tangible that she could do to make Catra happy.
Yeah, which is finding Entrapped's recordings.
Yes.
Which Hordak needs.
Yes. And Catra, you know, you can see how close to the edge she is. She's practically talking to herself here, even though she is technically talking to Scorpia. She's like, I'm so close. If I can pull this off, everything will have been worth it. Like,
I know, she's like making
buddy.
like crazy villain monologue shit.
Yeah.
Everything shall be worth it. I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
Catra,
So Scorpia, you know, isn't even really picking up on this. She's just psyched. She's like, yes, I'll find them. I have a job. This is great. Did you want any of the tea or, you know what? Never mind. She's like, maybe I should just back slowly away. And then there's this hilarious visual moment where Catra just like yoinks the tea out of Scorpia's hand.
Yes.
And she slurps it down just like the coolest cat on the block. And then she goes, ah. And as she holds the cup, and like the hand holding the cup, she has one finger pointing back at Scorpia and one hand on her hip in this like ridiculous cool pose.
Yeah.
And they just like stand there for a second looking at each other. And it's something about it is just hilarious.
It is very unnecessarily cool guy of Catra.
Yeah, and then
it's
Catra
awesome.
just throws the cup down on the ground and says, "What are you still doing here?"
Also, like, chugging herbal tea, kind of like the opposite of like what herbal tea is supposed to do.
Yes, especially since, it looked pretty hot from the amount of steam wafting off it.
Yeah.
But, it couldn't hurt to have a little tea.
Never hurts to have a little tea.
So the ending of that scene is oddly funny.
Yeah, even though
it's very sad.
Very sad for Scorpia and for us.
Things are just more and more tenuous.
Things are more and more tenuous. Yeah.
So we move on with Scorpia. Where does Scorpia go next, Meth?
Scorpia goes outside. So we're still in the fright zone, but Scorpia goes outside to a loading bay where we see the powerhouse Polycule and a whole bunch of other Horde soldiers moving boxes to and fro. Crates.
I would call them crates, but I'm not even really sure technically how to define the difference between a crate and a box. I don't really think it's important.
I feel like maybe it's like the material in which it is comprised of.
That's probably right. I would call them crates. They look quite hefty.
They look hefty. In fact, they look very,
they look metal.
They're metal.
Yeah.
They're heavy.
Yeah.
We know they're heavy because they need Scorpia's help with them. And, we know Scorpia can help because she picks up one with Rogelio attached to it.
And his claws, scrape down the side. So that's definitely not a cardboard box.
No. And also we see how friggin' strong Scorpia is.
Oh, yeah. As if there was ever any doubt.
As if there was ever any doubt, but this is a really awesome visual thing about it. Because Rogelio is not small.
Yeah, no.
And was struggling to pick up that crate, and she just picks both of them up together quite easily, and then drops the crate on him. Yeah, continues
chatting as she does it, like it's nothing.
She's like, "Oh gosh," that's my Scorpia. It's just Canadian.
So Scorpia's in a great mood right now. She's happy to help her buds, with their crate stacking, as she cheerfully tells them about this super important mission. Top secret, possibly, that she's on for Catra.
Ooh, possibly top secret.
Yeah, and Lonnie sarcastically says, good luck with that. I'm sure Catra will be super grateful.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Lonnie is still very salty after the events of last episode. Lonnie is feeling very unappreciated. She has no illusions about Catra. How Catra's going to handle them, the three of them specifically, and all the troops.
Yup.
And so she says as much to Scorpia. And of course, Scorpia gets defensive of Catra right away and they start bickering.
Yeah, because Scorpia is a loyal friend.
Scorpia says everything Catra's done has been to help the Horde. And if we stick with her, keep doing our jobs, I'm sure she'll notice, eventually.
Yeah.
And Lonnie knows that this is complete bullshit and she is just out of fucks.
And I feel like Scorpia's starting to pick up that maybe this is also bullshit too.
Yeah, I mean, the whole course of this episode is Scorpia slowly coming to terms with that, just one tiny, tiny nugget at a time.
Yes, and here's one of the nugs. This is one of her nugs.
Yes, is Lonnie telling her that Catra is intentionally letting their soldiers get attacked on the northern perimeter and that she doesn't care.
Right.
Gesturing to all of the injured soldiers, limping back in around them.
Right, yes.
And then Scorpia continues to defend Catra, saying she's just under a lot of pressure. And Lonnie just explodes. When are you going to wake up?
Right.
And Scorpia responds to being yelled at the same way that she always does. She just stands there, sort of looking down at the ground, looking hurt, like an abused puppy.
Yeah.
And this is sort of how she always reacts when people, like, genuinely yell at her.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of stay like that for a second. And then Lonnie's like, hey, we were supposed to be loading these boxes onto the transport. And she realizes that Scorpia has been undoing the work that they were doing.
Yep. Aww.
And Scorpia, doesn't know what to say. And Lonnie is just fed up.
Yep.
And tells Scorpia to just get out of here. We've got real work to do.
Right.
It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lonnie's boots on the ground. Like, Lonnie is seeing...
Lonnie's tired.
Lonnie is tired, and Lonnie is seeing what, the not force captain, the not princess, the not... what everyone that is actually working is going through. Yeah. And
all the regular Joes.
The regular Joes. And it's not Catra being, a wonderful genius.
Yeah. There's nobody looking out for the regular Joes of the Horde.
Right.
Least of all Catra.
Yeah. So,
and they just stand there.
No one down here is going to be like, woo, Catra, best leader ever.
Yeah. And so, Scorpia is just standing up for Catra no matter what to the end. Mm-hmm. And they stand there for a minute, and Scorpia's just looking hurt. And then she puts her emotional mask back on, and she smiles. And she seems happy and confident again, but we know it's a mask. And she says, good idea. You do your job, I'll do mine. And then and then it's like the mask slips a little bit, and she sort of quietly to herself says, it's a well-oiled machine.
Oh, it's so sad. Back to our Horde outpost.
This is a new Horde outpost.
This is a new Horde, a different Horde outpost.
They have moved on to the next one.
They have moved on to the next one. We have our best friend squad and Flutterina.
Yes.
So they are here, and doesn't really look like
Bo is scouting out the situation.
Yeah.
He says it doesn't seem like there's anyone on watch. Which seems strange, but Adora starts to make a strategic plan, which is normally her role. She points out that they still don't know what the defenses are like on the inside, so she starts to make a plan. And Glimmer just rolls her eyes, has no patience for this, and she just poofs out without waiting for the plan.
Well, I mean, she says, let's go nice and slow, but, like, Glimmer is definitely, like, a punch-first person, too. Like,
yeah, and that's always been true. Glimmer has always been the person who does not wait for the plan.
Right. But the stakes are pretty high when Glimmer does it now, because Glimmer's the queen. Yes.
Yes, the power dynamics have changed.
Right.
But who each person is remains fundamentally the same.
Right. And Adora, by the way, we don't see Adora as Adora in this episode at all. We only see Adora as She-Ra.
That's right. Adora is in She-Ra form this entire episode.
So then She-Ra, mentions this to Glimmer after Glimmer kind of just jumps in, fists a-flying with all sparkle, punching.
And, she is pretty effective in her ass kickery.
Sure. Yeah, she is kicking major ass here.
But they do have a very important exchange amidst the heat of battle. They have a very important exchange.
Yes, there's a fight within a fight here.
A verbal fight between two people who are on the same side of a physical fight against some other people.
Right. It's like they are so they're so adept at physically fighting the enemy that they can have like a verbal fight about their feelings while doing it.
Yes, exactly.
Which feels really Buffy to me.
Yes.
It this whole scene actually feels really super Buffy to me.
Yes. It absolutely does. Like, I could almost imagine Buffy and Spike doing this.
Yeah.
Being like,
definitely.
I'm just trying to help you. I didn't ask for your help. That kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
So She-Ra says, Glimmer, what are you doing? You can't just rush into battle on your own like that. You're the queen. You're too valuable.
Which makes sense.
It does make sense.
It does make sense, but then what Glimmer says also makes sense.
Yes.
Am I the queen because you seem like you're the one giving all of the orders?
Yes, both valid points.
But Glimmer's
point might have been better made sitting down at a table.
Yeah.
Not in the heat of battle.
Right.
But we can, if we're being generous, we can imagine that maybe she did try to make this point sitting down at a table and Adora just wouldn't hear it.
Right. We don't know this.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what conversations they had off screen. And so Adora's, it's hard for me to call her She-Ra because we know, like, that's not her name. Even when she's in She-Ra form. Like, we've established that she's in She-Ra form this whole episode. But her name is still Adora, so I'm going to keep calling her Adora.
Yeah, I wanted to establish that she was in She-Ra form this whole episode, so we could call her Adora.
You are correct.
Yeah.
So Adora's response to Glimmer is, and what's your plan? More dark magic?
Which is so, like, this is
a little
so
bit childish and reactive.
Also, so season 6 Buffy, too. Like, it's like, oh, was this more magic? Like, I don't know.
Dark magic? Right.
Dark magic, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
So, which we don't have to get in. Let's definitely not get into that because Jenny and I could rant about that.
Yes,
but suffice to say,
save that for the Discord if people want to get into that. If our patrons want to get into that on Discord.
Yeah.
And Glimmer, and again, like, they both have, like, one hard beat that they just keep coming back to. Glimmer says it's not dark magic.
Right.
And I don't know. Maybe if it helps me do what needs to be done.
Yes, and that's kind of Glimmer's thing is like, I am the queen, I am in charge, and I need to find new ways to get what needs to be done.
Yes.
And, Adora's like, no, we actually need to do this in a way that, isn't horrible.
Yeah, I mean, Adora's main point is, I have to protect you. You're the queen.
Right, and also, like, Adora's skeptical about what she thinks as dark magic.
Right. About this new growth that Glimmer is undergoing because it has a connection to Shadow Weaver.
Because it has a connection to Shadow Weaver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So as they're bickering back and forth in the heat of battle, Flutterina looks down gleefully and says quietly, "Double trouble, sometimes you're too good." Oh my god, I just thought of another perfect Buffy connection. We're having Flutterina and Double Trouble. It's like Ben and Glory. Is there some connection there?
Is there some connection between Flutterina and Double Trouble?
Are they roommates?
Is everyone here very stoned?
So now Bo also notices them fighting and intervenes, still in the midst of battle.
Oh my god. This is a really gay moment too.
Group therapy in the midst of
really
battle is my gayest moment.
Yeah, I get this.
And it's great. And so again, this is Bo. What would they do if Bo wasn't there? And I really feel Bo's position here. Like, I feel the anxiety that I would feel in Bo's place. Like, I just have to make sure that everybody gets along, come hell or high water.
Yeah. I've been in this situation so much in my life.
Bo seems very confident.
I get it. Yeah.
In his moderating.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good at conflict resolution.
Yes, he is. But ultimately, it doesn't work. But right here, it works. So Bo starts off asking Adora, "Is there something you want to say to Glimmer?"
Uh-huh.
And we have another fantastic, sullen lesbian moment with Adora. "No, I don't know. What? It's fine."
Whatever, it's fine.
As she's like holding off some kind of gigantic laser blast with her shield.
Uh-huh.
She has plenty of energy on the side to be a sullen lesbian.
Oh, yeah. It's fine. Yeah. Everything's fine. It's fine.
And then Bo continues to encourage her, says communication is key to a good friendship.
Uh-huh.
And Meth, that's gay.
Oh, yeah. That's totally gay.
So gay.
That is really gay. Yeah.
And I have definitely said that so many times.
I just said it like 20 minutes ago.
I'm sure you did.
I mean, not like 20 minutes ago, but yeah.
20 minutes before we started recording, probably.
20 minutes before we started recording. Yes. I absolutely said that.
I believe
verbatim.
So Adora tries again, bolstered by her friend Bo, while still beating up so many Horde soldiers. She says, "I don't know why Glimmer is suddenly okay with trusting Shadow Weaver after everything she's done to us. I'm just worried about her. It's too dangerous."
And I think that us is definitely an us, but I think this is also a her thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, definitely a her thing.
Yes, absolutely. And Glimmer snaps back because she's feeling defensive. She says, do you really think I'm naive enough to trust her?
And I love that Bo was like, can we do this a little bit more? The actual words that Bo says is, would you like to try phrasing that a little more constructively? It's like, can we use some I statements here? Like,
yeah, he's like a kindergarten teacher at this point.
I know.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Right.
And so Glimmer is also able to rephrase. She says, first she says, everything I'm doing is to protect people, to protect you.
Because this is what she's taken on as a queen.
Yes, I'm not asking you to trust Shadow Weaver, but can't you at least trust me?
Right.
So now they have both said some more I-centered statements about their own feelings instead of accusing each other. And Adora agrees that she does trust Glimmer, of course. And Bo hugs them both and says, that's how the best friend squad does it.
Yeah, but there's still tension there.
Well, they're on the right path at this point.
Right.
And Flutterina is annoyed that all her hard work is being undone by the rebels' secret weapon, which is a trans social worker. And that's the gayest thing of all.
Aww. That is way too relatable to my own personal life.
Yeah, I mean, very relatable. It's very gay.
Yeah.
So Flutterina now has to get things back on track on the, double trouble track by play acting being captured by the dumbass Horde soldiers.
Oh my
Who
god.
immediately drop her, and she has to tell them, I'm on your side. Follow my lead.
I know, it's so dumb.
And they can barely do it.
It's so dumb. They can barely do it. But before we get to that part of horrible, horrible, horrible acting, we're going to jump back to the Fright Zone and see what's up with our team of Scorpia and Emily.
Yes, our favorite Scorpion princess and Puppybot.
Aw, Puppybot pal.
So they've looked everywhere for those gosh darn recordings.
We can't just... They're just nowhere. They are nowhere to be seen. They've got to be there somewhere.
Scorpia cannot find the recordings, but she does find something else.
Oh. She finds a picture.
It is the iconic photo of the Super Pal trio. It is so fucking cute.
The grouchy Catra. Harumph. In pure harumph mode.
Yep. We've got happy laughing Scorpia on the left, happy smiling Entrapta on the right, and Grumpy Kitty in the center.
Love Grumpy Kitty in the center.
Yep. She really just ties the whole thing together.
Really does. Grumpy lesbian in the center. Best.
So Scorpia has a moment with her photo, but then she says that she will not be distracted. She cannot let catch her down. Just think like Entrapta.
And then she does a great Entrapta impression that's almost as good as yours, Jenny.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it's equally as fantastic, if not even a little bit better. I mean, Scorpia, Scorpia is Entrapta's best friend. I think she really has the insight. She even moves around the room. Like, she really commits. She hangs from the ceiling.
Commit. Yeah. She does hang from the ceiling. Dear listeners, I have not seen Jenny hang from the ceiling when doing the Entrapta
No, I'm not taking it that far.
That's not, So I guess Scorpia does win there.
So Scorpia, and she's concentrating. She puts her pincers to her temples, and she goes, bats, Hordak, tiny food. And she's hanging from the ceiling. She falls to the floor. First one's tech, rune stones. And then she figures it out. She got to the rune stones, and she's like, oh my god, Black Garnet Chamber. That's a place we can look.
She put something together.
Yeah, so that was a very good stream of consciousness Entrapta brain thing that she did there. It totally worked.
Yeah, good for her.
Yes.
Good for her.
So let's go to the Black Garnet Chamber, Meth.
So we're going to go to the Black Garnet Chamber, and we're going to learn a lot about Scorpia.
Yes, we sure are.
So this place gives Scorpia the creeps.
Yes, it is a big, scary room, and they start out by just peeking around the door. So right away you have some vibes that this is a foreboding place.
This
we
is
are
a
not
foreboding
supposed to
place. Yeah. Yeah. And she tells a little, man, we had some times here. The time Entrapta hacked the Black Garnet. That time Shadow Weaver tried to kill us.
All
and
those good times. Yes.
You know. And then she says, and before that, and then we get this like weird, like kind of like inkling of a psychic connection.
Yeah, she kind of like regards her reflection in the shiny crystalline surface of the Black Garnet.
Yeah.
You know, like she has a moment where she's like recognizing herself in the Black Garnet.
Yeah, and she kind of trails off after she says, and before that.
Yeah.
And then shifts and then tells Emily, you're not going to believe this, Emily, but I'm actually a princess. Mm-hmm. And then we go, what? And then we go, oh, yeah, right. We remember that. Yeah. We were told that a long time ago.
But Emily is surprised.
Beep, bop, boop. Beep, boop. And she does beeps of boops of surprise. Yep. And then we learned from Scorpia that the whole Fright Zone used to be her family's kingdom. But Hordak...
First, she negs herself. She says, oh, you know, it's ridiculous.
Yes.
But it's true.
Yes. So the Fright Zone used to be your family's kingdom, but then Hordak showed up, and then she kind of, well, you know, the rest is history. And then, you know, gets a little, well, the Black Garnet never worked for me anyway. Or, you know.
Yes. And then she has this moment where she stares at the Black Garnet, and it's like she can hear it calling to her. This quiet, whooshing, whispering, and she comes so close to touching it. And then, like, at the very last second, she loses her nerve and pulls away. And the whispering sounds vanish.
Yeah, and it's like...
She's not ready.
She's not ready to embrace her destiny.
No. And she sighs and says it's for the best. Can you imagine me as a princess? I just need to find those recordings. And then we have beep boop brrr, boom, and then we have some like Jedi projection, you know, help me Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. And then we have, you know, all of a sudden R2-D2 puts on the big screen and we have some recordings. We found Entrapta's recordings. Yes, just to clarify in case anyone didn't follow all of those analogies based on other media, the recordings are coming out of Emily.
Yeah, sorry.
No. I mean, anyone who gets it, and anyone who doesn't might be like, wait, what?
Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
Yes.
Yes, I was referencing Star Wars, but yes, the recordings come out of Emily.
Nate Stevenson was also thinking of Star Wars.
Oh, he absolutely was.
When he made this. Clearly.
Yeah, he's always thinking of Star Wars.
But yes, this is definitely a Star Wars comparison.
Yes.
The recordings are stored in R2-D2, the recordings are stored in Emily.
Right.
And so we have a giant Entrapta being projected on the wall. And it's a recording that it will come to be revealed that she made this recording just before they went to the Northern Reach. And on-screen Entrapta says she's uploaded backups of all her logs into Emily's hard drive, and she's upgraded her to record visual data. And then I wrote, hi, Mom, because that's always what you say when you start recording yourself for the first time.
Yeah.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Look at me, I'm on TV!
Yes.
Woo!
And then she says, you know, the most hilariously endearing Entrapta thing, now when an experiment blows up and I lose all memory of that day, I'll still have record of the research.
Fair.
And then she grabs from out of the frame with her prehensile hair tendrils, she pulls Catra and Scorpia in and hugs them super tight and says, everyone smile!
Aw, that's really cute. So now all of a sudden,
this is another super soft memory.
Yeah.
So we see cranky Catra and excited Entrapta and Scorpia getting ready for their trip to the Northern Reach. Catra tells Entrapta to finish packing. Entrapta says, I'm a scientist. All I need is my mind. Also, my giant drill. Also, everything in this room.
This is how I pack, by the way.
Yes. And so Scorpia is watching this video with a smile. Oh, good old days with her buddies.
No, look at my pals. I miss my friends. Look at us liking each other, not being, not being horrible, not being banished.
Between Scorpia and Entrapta about hot cocoa. Catra tries to rain on their parade and tell them they're not going to have hot cocoa. This is, a work trip. But as soon as Catra walks away, they're both like, okay, but we'll bring the hot cocoa stuff anyway.
Yeah, because that's the only reason to go in the snow.
Yes, and then they have a little high five. And it pauses, like the recording ends, like it ends and it freezes frame. It doesn't go to black. Right on the high five.
Uh-huh.
And then Scorpia reaches out her claw to touch the high five on the screen. And it's fucking heartbreaking.
It's fucking heartbreaking. And Scorpia is just like, I miss her.
Yeah.
And then she's like, she has a conversation with Emily that is very much like when people have conversations with
their cat,
Rogelio, or with Rogelio.
Yes, Rogelio. But so in this context, so she does it first. She seems very melancholy when she says, "I miss her," and she's looking at the recording. But then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh wait, we found the recordings," and she's super happy again. Uh-huh. And then she has this conversation with Emily. But it seems like she definitely understands everything Emily is saying.
Yes.
But other than that, it is exactly like people talking to Rogelio.
Yeah. And it's the one-sided exposition, right? Like,
yes.
We did it, you beautiful bot. Now we found them. Now we gotta tell Cat beep boop beep boop boop boop. What do you mean you can't just take them out? Beep boop beep boop boop beep.
Yes.
What, not possible. Beep boop beep boop beep boop. They're deeply ingrained in your core processor and can't be accessed without dismantling you completely, which, by the way, is not how data storage works anywhere.
Yeah. It doesn't seem logical at all.
But, okay,
but it's necessary for the plot.
But also, like, nothing in this world, I have to suspend all fucking disbelief, so I'm gonna do it. But, I mean, listen, that's not...
If I can suspend my disbelief about the, like, people magically knowing dead languages that they've never been exposed to because that's where their ancestors come from...
Oh, yeah, then I'll suspend my disbelief on how data storage works in Etheria.
The moon's lighting up the planet even without the reflection of the sun.
Yeah, also the moons, right?
Beth, I believe that this is another instance of magic.
I think this is an instance of techno magic.
Yes, it is techno magic. It is tech in a world of magic. So now Scorpia has a major crisis. Because Catra needs these recordings. And she wants to be there for Catra no matter what. But that would mean murdering Emily.
Right, so this is Scorpia being loyal, and what does loyalty look like to Scorpia right now? Because her loyalty is now split between murdering one of her friends or what Scorpia is starting to see maybe is betraying one of her friends, but maybe isn't actually betraying one of her friends.
Because is this person really her friend?
Exactly.
Is this person a friend to her?
Yes, exactly.
So we will leave her in this moment, this defining moment of decision, and go back to the Horde outpost with our rebel pals.
Before we jump back, we have the last shot is the Black Garnet being like a little like being like, just the last shot being like an ominous little Black Garnet's like, I'll see you soon.
Ooh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, so
yes.
Wonder what happens with Scorpia and that there Black Garnet. Wonder if something happens later in the series.
Tell.
Time will tell.
If the Black Garnet has more in mind for Scorpia.
I wonder if it does. But let's go back to that Horde outpost now.
Yes.
So
Flutterina is putting on a great show of being captured by these Horde soldiers.
Well, Flutterina obviously has improv training.
Yes, but these guys are barely keeping it together.
You're like, oh gosh, drop your weapons or the girl gets it?
I guess? I don't know.
Maybe? And then we went from impossible choice number one for one of our characters, right? Which is Scorpia having to make the impossible choice with Emily. And now we're going to this, framed impossible choice of like, well, what do we do here? We can't, we have to make sure that Flutterina is safe.
It would seem like the most logical thing. I mean, I know it doesn't matter now because it's already over. But it would seem to me that in a hostage situation like this, the thing to do would be to have your teleporter just teleport in, grab the hostage, and teleport out. That would be the most safe If you just want to grab your friend and make sure everyone's safe, why wouldn't you just do that?
Well, sure. And I mean, Glimmer does go in and, like, take charge of the situation.
But she takes charge in a way that's, like, more on the offensive and less about basic safety.
Right. And the point here is that Glimmer is not thinking about, like, she's taking an offensive instead of a defensive point here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Glimmer also makes the point that someone has to do something. They can't just all stand there.
Right. And so Glimmer does not actually see this as an impossible choice, which is, you know, Glimmer's choices are now starting to seem less impossible for her.
Yeah.
You know, Glimmer is starting to be more definitive in her choices, and they are choices that are starting to be choices that the people surrounding her may not necessarily have agreed with or will agree with.
Or feel super comfortable with.
Or feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Because they are bolder in ways that may be a little grayer than the choices that they would be making.
A little grayer and a little riskier also.
Yes. Like, I think I meant riskier because
like
I think
what level of risk are
riskier.
we willing to incur?
Willing to put others in.
Yes. So Glimmer, she does what she does. She grabs the Horde soldier and away they poof. She's going to question a Horde soldier today, god damn it.
And this is the part. So in the beginning when she did this, it was less like terrifying, I guess. Like it was less hard.
It was more tentative. Like she didn't totally know what she was going to do. She didn't totally know what she wanted to ask, maybe. She just was like, this is a thing to do next. But she didn't know necessarily. She didn't have it all planned out. It was sort of like more of an awkward fumbling towards the next steps.
Right. But this right here, she comes in hard. And she even says, I haven't practiced this one as much. It's a true spell. If it works, it works. But if it fails, it can be extremely painful.
Right.
And
who knows if that's even true, or if she was just saying it to scare him. Because the last time she tried the true spell and it didn't work, nothing happened at all.
Nothing happened. But she's willing to go in. She's willing to go in this hard.
She's willing to scare him.
She's willing to scare him, right.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that she's willing to employ actual torture methods. Like, she's just saying something to scare him.
No, but she's willing to... I don't mean she's willing to go in this hard as in, like, willing to torture, but she's willing to actually bring herself to say these things to go in. Whereas before, she was like, I've never actually tried this. And with this one, she's like, I've never done it, but it could kill you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, she's badassing this.
Yes, she is notching up the badassery.
Yes.
And she knows what questions she wants to ask now. She's had it. She's like, where is everyone?
Yeah, and she's scaring her friends with this.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's the thing, is before, like, her friends were like, I don't know, that's not cool. And now her friends are like, holy shit, Glimmer, are you going to do that?
Yeah. And also, like, I also feel like she has a lot of, like, tension and energy built up because all day... They've been fighting their asses off. Every time she tries to make a move, like every time she turns around, either Bo or Adora is there to jump in front of her and like save her from danger by like, they get the bad guy. They're going to get the bad guy. She hasn't been able to make a move all day. She's frustrated.
No. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I feel like it's a combination of those things.
Sure. So now she's like she has all this pent up energy.
Yes.
So she's going to go hard on this one guy and terrify him and terrify her friends in the process. Cause they're like, holy shit, you have this in you?
Yes.
Like we knew you had some of this in you, but this is like, what?
Yeah. And then she's offended that they believe that she would really hurt him. She's like, I was just scaring him. I wasn't actually going to hurt him. Like, did you really think I was going to hurt him?
But, like, even as viewers, we're like, we don't know, dude. Like, we'd love you and trust you, Glimmer, but, like, that was really convincing.
Yeah.
I was convinced, right? Like, I'm like, damn, Glimmer, you're going in hard here. Like,
yeah. Like, she was really pushing him to tell her more information. And, you know, he does tell her. He's like, okay, you know, Catra called back most of the team, but I don't know why. And she's like, well, I think you do. And he's like, no, I swear I don't. I really don't. And that's when Bo and Adora show up.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, you took things way too far.
Right.
And she's like, well, I wasn't actually going to hurt him. Did you actually think I would hurt him? So, like, they're all pissed at each other now.
Right. And Adora shuts the conversation down.
Well, first Bo jumps in and says, well, why don't we go get some rest and discuss this later?
Right,
and then
right,
Adora
right.
shuts it down because she's like, okay, well, the supply line is open, so we're done here.
Yep,
and that gives them all permission to just stalk off in opposite directions.
Yeah, and Glimmer's like, fine.
Yeah.
The mission's over. We're done.
Yes. So Bo is fretting. Adora and Glimmer are mad. They all leave without resolving anything.
Flutterina and scene.
Yes.
I'm doing this very silly,
Yes, I wish people could see you. Everyone knows the gesture, the hand gesture that you do to close the scene.
Yeah, I'm pulling my fingers together in front of my face and pulling, and then I have one eyebrow up, and it's very silly.
The directorial end scene gesture.
Directorial and acting and end scene.
Yes.
Anyway.
Flutterina's very pleased. We get one little double trouble blink.
What?
Just to remind you, in case you forgot, that Ben is Glory and Glory is Ben.
I have the memory of a goldfish. So what? That's double? No way. That's not double trouble. No way. Anyway,
so Discord is brewing among our friends.
Discord is a brewing. Yeah. What is to become of the squad of best friends?
We do not know.
Back in the Fright Zone, we go to Scorpia's secret fun spot, which is her family's throne room.
And she calls
horror hall.
She calls it Horror Hall.
Sure. That's definitely a holdover from the old series.
Oh,
there's no way that is not a holdover from the old series.
I looked all over for any trivia about this episode, and I didn't see that anywhere.
Really?
But I would love to know if that's the case.
Huh. I mean, it sounds like something that would be in
It does. And it's a pretty metal name for a location.
It's a really metal name.
And I like it. So if anyone has information about that name, I would love to hear it.
I mean, it looks like there's a bunch of haunts and stuff that are called Horror
so there's all
Hall,
these murals of all the old Scorpion royalty from before the Horde came.
Yeah.
And Scorpia brings Emily in there to hide, and she says, nobody comes here anymore. And she used to hide down here when she was a kid.
Mm-hmm. And the murals look like the ones that are in all of the kingdoms.
Yes.
They look like the ones in it's the same style. It's also it's the first one's Art Deco style, right? So
and we don't even know if this is the first one style anymore, or if this was the native Etherean ststyle.
Right, but this is it's similar to the style that's in the Crystal Castle as well, though.
But also in Bright Moon and everywhere else.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. In Bright Moon and
yeah.
So,
but
it's a style that's everywhere.
This very beautiful shaft of light hitting this big mural of the forgotten generations of Scorpion royalty, and there's again sort of similar to the caves under Bright Moon, these little tiny bits of light that are probably supposed to symbolize magic, just sort of floofing through the air. Mm-hmm, but it's subtle. They're smaller than the ones that were under Bright Moon, but they're definitely there.
Little magic floofs.
Yeah, and so Scorpia points out some of the smaller portraits to Emily, and she calls them Pointy, Captain Pointy, and the Widow Madame Pointessa.
Which she made up, but,
I'm just kidding. I don't know their names.
Yeah.
And so it's cute. But it also shows us that Scorpia has been totally robbed of her family history. She has no knowledge of her own family history.
Yeah. I mean, her kingdom was colonized. Her family, family, in order to appease the colonizers, made a deal with them, and their entire culture was wiped out.
Yeah. And so this could be... Well, let's go through the rest of the scene first.
Let's go through the rest of the scene. Yeah.
And then they go over to the big mural, and Scorpia shows Emily the biggest and most central figure in the Royal Scorpion mural, which is her granddad, the king.
Mm-hmm.
Who she says was the greatest, even though she has no memories of him. That's just what the Horde told her.
Right. Okay, putting a pin in that.
Yes. And Scorpia says, I have Granddad to thank for my opportunities in life. He made the alliance with Hordak. As part of it, our kingdom gave up our runestone and princess. My granddad must have known I'd be happier as a soldier. And I made friends in the Horde, like you. And as she looks over at Emily, she sees that Emily is looking at another mural of Scorpion people that's covered over with Horde graffiti. And the music changes ominously in that moment, of course. Because, you know, you have to have an ominous musical cue when you're looking at the Horde graffiti.
Right.
And then Scorpia kind of sighs heavily and admits that things didn't exactly work out for her people. But Granddad stayed loyal till the end, because that's what Scorpions do best. Brave, loyal, great hugs.
Yep. Damn.
Yeah.
So
It's rough.
let's go through this a little bit. I mean, like, first of all, heartbroken.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to, like, gloss over that. This is a heartbreaking story.
Yeah.
Of, like, just a complete culture being wiped out.
Yeah.
Within, like, 40 years.
If that. Yeah.
If that. We're always shaky on the timeline of Hordak landing.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm questioning here. So, Granddad the King is essentially the only good Scorpion, right? Because he gave over the Garnet and the princess to Hordak. That's why he was the one they talked about as being awesome. So which princess did he give over? Was it Scorpia's mom?
I mean, my interpretation, and this could be wrong and it could be up for debate, my interpretation was that he gave up the princesshood of the kingdom.
Okay, that makes sense.
He didn't, like, hand them his child.
Right. Okay, so that makes sense, because that was going to be my next question, because he also hands over the Garnet itself.
Right.
Which means he gave the princesshood and the Garnet, which is intrinsically tied to princesshood.
Right.
To the Horde, in hopes that the Horde would then have their own princess, and then... Or did they have no concept of that, just that they knew that this was something that was a great power that they couldn't use, or they didn't want being used, right? They knew princesses were an enemy. So was it a neutralizing thing or having their own thing? Because then we have Shadow Weaver coming in and being like, you have one of those big ugly things you don't use, I can use it. But they had the ability to have someone use it.
Right. My interpretation is that, you know, Hordak and Grandpa Scorpion crossed paths early in Hordak's time on Etheria. When Hordak was just getting his Etheria legs under him and figuring shit out.
Right.
And so Hordak knew that he needed a runestone if he was going to have any power.
Right.
And he didn't necessarily know what he was going to do with it, but he knew that he wanted it.
Right.
And so he got it. And he knew that he would need to, you know, start eliminating princesses if he was going to get power. And so he's like, okay, great, one down. And then while he was dicking around with the runestone, trying to figure out his next moves, that's when Shadow Weaver appeared to him.
Cool. So you don't think that he was like, okay, I'll get rid of the princess, not I'll have my own princess as a weapon.
No, I don't think that Hordak wanted to have his own princess, because if he had, he would have kept Scorpia's moms on the scene.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
And then he would be using Scorpia as a princess.
Right,
she would
as a princess.
She would be the Horde princess if that were the case.
Cool. Okay. I was trying to work that one out. That makes sense. Okay.
That's
cool.
my interpretation, but I am definitely open to discussion.
Yeah. That one makes the most amount of sense. I just wanted to talk that one out.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So that's how we get. So I guess that's where we are with the Scorpions. I think they have a name that's like the Scorpiani or something. Or
that would be cool.
I know.
But they're Italian Scorpions.
They're Italian Scorpions, yeah. Italian-Canadian Scorpions.
Yeah, and I have wondered a lot, like, where are Scorpia's moms? Because on the one hand, I feel like they wouldn't just leave their child with the Horde.
No.
And fuck off to Tahiti or wherever.
Lesbos.
But on the other hand, you know, Scorpia says Granddad stayed loyal to the end. And so if he was loyal, where, why would Scorpia's moms leave and not take their child? And if they couldn't...
Maybe they were loyal to the Horde, too.
Like,
right?
I think they're dead, basically.
I mean, that's unfortunately probably where we're at with this, right? Like, I think they are. They may have died in the war. This is definitely possible.
Yeah.
As they may have died in the war the same way that everybody else's parents, either could have or did die in the war.
Yeah. I don't think that they would just leave her at the mercy of the Horde.
For all we know, they were Force captains.
Could be.
I'm writing a fic right now. I'm like, they were Force captains together.
But if they were, I feel like we would have photographic evidence of that.
Maybe. I don't know. I
it's
think
really hard to know.
I mean, the thing that makes they might have died in the war is kind of where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's probably right, and it's vague enough that we don't have to have all the particulars worked out.
Right. They are of that generation that has been fighting, so that makes sense.
Yes.
So let's go with our wild speculation.
Yes, and if they had lived long enough to be in Scorpia's life in any meaningful way, they would have told her more of her history.
Right.
But I definitely think that Scorpia's moms died when she was very young.
I agree. Scorpia. So I agree. Scorpia's mom's died when she was very young, possibly in the war. We don't know what happened to them, but they're not there.
Just off on a beach somewhere.
They're not just off on a beach somewhere. They're not in Ibiza.
No. They wouldn't do that to their beloved only child.
No, they wouldn't do that to their beloved only child.
Because scorpions are brave and loyal.
And they give great hugs.
They would be loyal to their baby if they could.
Absolutely. And, Scorpia says that too. That just like her mamas and just like her granddad, the king, she needs to be there for Catra and tell her about the recordings because she's her friend. And maybe she won't hurt Emily if, she says, I won't.
If I ask her.
If I ask her not to, because... That's, it's a good faith thing, right? Like, I'm loyal and I give good hugs, so maybe Catra will be.
She's still holding on to that optimism. And Emily shakes her head, which is also her whole body.
Yeah.
And shows Scorpia the video projection of Catra's final moments with Entrapta, the zapping and sending her to Beast Island.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, Scorpia continues to defend Catra, as she always has, saying she was threatened, she didn't mean it. But then the video continues to play out. To the point where, Catra is now pointing the zapper at Scorpia, saying, "You want to be next?"
And Scorpia is watching it herself. She has literal distance.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's figurative distance, but also, I guess, literal, right? She has time distance, and she's seeing it happen to herself. She's seeing a recording of what Catra did.
Yeah.
To her.
Yeah.
Saying, do you want to be next?
Yeah. She's finally taking it in.
Yeah. And sometimes you can only see the abuse when you have that external point of view. And she saw it. Like, she literally saw the video evidence of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So finally, all these, it's been little bit by bit throughout this episode. And finally it hits her fully. She says, Catra betrayed her. She betrayed me. And I just let her take Entrapta away.
Yep.
Catra doesn't care.
Nope.
She'll hurt people to get her way. If she knew the recordings were inside of you. But I still have time. I can still be a good friend. And then the scene ends with a close-up of the slash marks on Emily's face.
Oh.
So this is it.
This is it. This is Scorpia's big moment.
Mm-hmm. The paths have converged. Or not converged. Wait, the opposite of converged.
I believe it's diverged.
Diverged. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood.
Yes, I took the path less Catrid.
Yes, and that has made all the difference.
Has made all the difference. So we go back to Catra, who in the transcript is described as grunts and paces.
Accurate.
Which is actually pretty accurate.
Yeah, I wrote that she's pacing like a caged animal.
Yeah.
She's
Pretty
real
accurate.
wound up at this point.
She is really wound up. So, and then she sees Scorpia and, no pleasantries, not even like
No.
business trees.
No.
It's just, you better have something for me.
Mm-hmm. And Scorpia hands her some broken piece of metal.
Yep.
Saying that this is the thing. And, it broke when she extracted it, but hopefully that won't matter.
Yep.
And of course, Catch was very understanding and everything's fine, and that's the end of the episode.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
But no, that's actually a damn lie.
Yes.
But why would anything happy happen in this episode?
Yes. No. So Catra, of course, completely loses it.
Just total meltdown. And this is Scorpia's last test.
Yeah, this is important, though. Scorpia needs to experience this. This is what she needs to push her out the door.
Yep. So she gives Catra this piece of metal and says the chip got damaged, but hopefully it won't matter,
And Catra starts to lose it on her and says all the most horrible things. I asked you to do one simple thing and you completely ruined it. Of course you did. You're Scorpia. That's just what you do. The only thing you ever do is get in my way. What did I expect? How could you possibly be this useless? She's saying it so much more harshly than I'm saying it, obviously.
Yeah, she's bad.
She's being totally over the deep end.
Horrible friend.
And she finally looks up from this rant and realizes that Scorpia is just standing there, looking down. Again, sort of like an abused dog that's learned not to fight back.
Yeah.
And Catra's like, what?
And Scorpia just looks at her and quietly and sadly, but strongly, there's a strength to it.
Yeah.
And truthfully, just says, you're a bad friend.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all she has to say.
And she turns and walks away. Mm-hmm. And Catra is stunned.
Yeah.
Her eyes get so wide.
Yep, and she does the thing, throughout this season we see, and throughout the rest of the series actually, we see kind of throughout the whole series we see kind of Catra's hair as a reflection of her mood and her mental state. Mm-hmm. And for this, we see, throughout this season, we see a lot of Catra smoothing out her hair whenever something shakes her, whenever something kind of starts to break her from her everything is fine.
Yes.
Bogus facade.
Yes. Yes.
And so she smooths her hair down, breathes out, does her everything is fine.
And enters the incel sanctum.
And
Hordak is even more of a bitch to her than she was to Scorpia.
That dude sucks.
The recordings. Ah.
Wow.
And then Catra has the broken thing in her hand that she believes is the recordings. Yep. And her hand is shaking. And then at the last second, she sort of puts it behind her back and decides that she's not even going to bother.
Yep. So she lies too.
Yep.
And she's entrapped and must have taken them. There's nothing.
Yep. And he throws an even bigger tantrum. And wrecks all his stuff. I gave you an order.
Hurt people.
Right. And so now this is when Catra gives her villainous speech to Hordak that is just as much to herself.
Yeah, this is the Catra's big projectathon.
Yes.
So, and she's get over it. And is basically you don't need anybody. You don't need a princess in your life telling you what to do. Look at what you've done without her. You've built an army, an empire. You and me, we don't need anyone.
Yeah.
And this is such a villain speech, right?
Yes.
Forget them all. No one matters. Nothing matters but the mission, right?
And then they'll all see.
Prove yourself.
Yes.
Prove your worth. And it's okay, Catra, we get it.
Yeah.
This is
it's
you laid out
so
on the
extra.
table. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Hordak, for once, just takes this all in silently without a big reactive outburst.
Yeah.
He must be really feeling this. He's yeah, they will all see.
It's yeah. I mean, that's how, right? You speak villain to the villain, right?
Yeah,
it's fuck, they will.
Sometimes,
that does make sense.
Sometimes it clashes. It's two magnets that have the same charge and they push away from each other. And then sometimes it's just the perfect thing and they just click and they're fuck yes.
Yeah. It does make sense. Yes, vengeance. Vengeance is mine.
Yes.
You know? Like,
yes.
Cool.
And so he moves some scraps from his work table and uncovers this one data crystal that looks just like the one in his suit that Entrapta gave him. As if it's like the missing puzzle piece that he just figured out. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like...
I don't know what the deal is with that. And fuck, it was here the whole time.
So
whatever.
He seems super confident, and he says, "Oh, of course. Yes, we will prevail. Give me another day, and I will be ready." And Catra says, "Does that mean I can give the command?"
And then Hordak does the "It is time," which is like right? Yeah. It's just like it's so
they are just like feeding off of each other's like villainous drama right now.
Villain shit. I know. This is probably like one of both of their biggest like over the top villain shit scenes ever.
Yeah.
Like it's just ridiculous, honestly.
Yeah. And then there's just one more tiny little scene to leave us in an uplifted place.
Yeah.
Scorpia goes back to Horror Hall.
Aww.
Where all her, dead ancestors' paintings are. And she sees a little shaking pile of rocks.
Yep.
It's Emily.
Oh.
Hiding under the rocks.
Oh, she hugs her.
Yeah.
They hug. I love when you hug. I love robot hugs.
Yeah, I love when they hug. You can tell that Emily's hugging back.
Uh-huh.
Scorpia says she bought them some time. Catra doesn't know that was just old junk or that she was lying to her. Oof. And it's so hard for her to say it, that she was lying to Catra.
Mm-hmm.
And she says there's nothing she could do for Catra, but maybe she can still help Entrapta. So it's time for a Super Pal duo field trip!
And they're leaving the Horde.
For good.
Yeah! You could do it, Scorpia!
And they walk out into a beautiful, bright light as we all cry tears of joy.
You got this. Oh, and I love how the episode kind of begins and ends with Scorpia, with the things that are important to Scorpia and with Scorpia's family.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like Scorpia's beginning and Scorpia's future.
Yeah.
Or carrying on Scorpia's legacy.
Yeah, that's a really great way to frame it. I didn't think of that.
Huh.
I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm smart. Well, Jenny.
Well, Matt.
What did we learn today?
We learned that it can be unbelievably hard to walk away from toxic friendships.
Uh-huh.
But that you are worth it. That you are worth as much as you think your friends are worth. And if they don't treat you with as much care and love as you treat them, then you are worth more.
Fuck yeah!
It can be done. If Scorpia can do it, then we can all do it.
Fuck yeah!
And we all know that Scorpia has more wonderful things in store for her.
Absolutely,
so
which I'm very excited to get to those.
Yeah.
Well, folks, if you liked what you heard and you want to leave the Fright Zone with us, you can like and follow us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at HeyAdoraCast, or you can email us all of your love for sweet baby Scorpia at HeyAdoraCast@gmail.com. And rumor has it, going around the Fright Zone, posted on the halls of Horror Hall. Well, we have a Patreon.
I've heard that rumor.
I've heard this rumor.
Can confirm.
If you become a member of the Rebellion, you can get fantastic perks like Discord, bonus episodes, playlists, story hour,
Discord community,
love,
all kinds of good fun.
I will kiss you consensually on your hand if we meet. And if that's not what you're into, we can shake hands. That's cool.
Hard to top that.
But yeah.
We're going to be having a Patreon group watch of Nimona soon. We're going to be having
really
bonus episode about Nimona soon. It's going to be for patrons only. So it's a great time to join.
It's a great time to join. And you can find the link to our Patreon, as well as the link to this week's Spotify playlist, Princess Scorpia, in our show notes or at heyadora.gay.
You can always find all of the things at heyadora.gay, because that's how much we love you.
We are .gay. We are heyadora.gay. Everything we have to do is .gay. We are .gay.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, queer joy is radical.
And queer love saves the universe.
Ow!
Beep, bop, boop, boop.
Ah! Ah! Ah!